Welcome back, guys. So I'll start by making a pattern for this dress. I'll start by ruling out my starting point, which is also my shoulder line, and from that point I'll take all my vertical measurements. Meanwhile, my paper is on fold. From there I'll mark my bust point, my under bust, my waist point. I'll do the same on the other side, just so my line can be straight. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and roll this out. I'll roll out the lines. Next, I'll take my hip point, which is not exactly where my hip point is, but it's just where I want the white material to start. And I'll roll this out also and label the lines. Next, I'll take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7 inches, and mark. From there, I'll take down 1 inch for my shoulder slope and take my neck depth and neck width of 3 inches. Now I'll use my French curve to roll this out. And then from that point, I'm going to take down 7 inches. That's my armhole circumference divided by 2. And then I'll mark that point as my chest line. And I'll label the rest of the lines also as bust point, under bust, waist, and length. On my chest line, I'll take my bust measurement divided by 4. Mark that point and then take down the line straight and divide the measurement by 2, which is 3.57 divided by 2. At that point, because we're trying to get the midpoint, I'll go in by half an inch, mark the point. Now I'll make sure that I use my French curve to connect the 3 dots to create my armhole. Next, I'll take my bust span or my nipple to nipple divided by 2, which is 3.5, and mark it on each of the line except for my chest line. And I'll roll this out. And then on my hip point, I'll go up by 2 inches. And on my waistline, I'll go out on each side by half an inch to create my dart. And I'll use my ruler to connect it from that point where I marked 2 inches to the point where I marked out half an inch. I'll do same from the upper side. And I've created my dart. This is because the material I'm using is not that stretchy. Next, I'll take my round measurement. I'll mark my bust point divided by 4. Remember, all our round measurements are divided by 4. I'll take my under bust divided by 4 and replace my dart. You measure inside the dart and replace it. But you don't need to do that on the hip point because we don't have any dart opening there. So on that hip point, I'll use my hip measurement divided by 4. And I'll go ahead and connect all the dots. So yeah, next I will take my off shoulder. I use 3 inches. You could use more, like 4 or 5 inches if you want yours to be deeper, but my client's one has minimal, so I'm using 3 inches. And I roll that out. I'll take my off shoulder measurement, and I noticed it was short by half an inch. So I went out by 1/2 inch on the off shoulder line and blended it in with my armhole. You'll see how I'll do it. Yeah, so that's just what I did. So yes, and from that point, I measured from my hip point downwards the full length of this dress. But what I did is I divided each point by 10 inches. That is, I marked vertically 10 inches, 10 inches in 4 parts, and then draw lines on each, just so I know where 10-inch stops. At each point, I added 1 inch extra to my hip point divided by 4, just so I can have that A-line effect. But you could use your tape directly, depends on what works for you. And then I'll just connect the points together. Yeah, if you're stopping by my channel for the first time, you are highly welcome. I'm happy to have you on board. You can do well by subscribing. So yeah, I've connected the dot now, and I have that nice A-line effect. I just want the flare to be equal, the panels. That's why I did that. So at each point, I measured and divided the measurement by 3 equal parts. At each point, I marked 10 inches downwards. I measured it just as I did on this hip point and divided it into 3 equal parts, and marked. I wanted to divide it into 3 different columns, which you will see. Now, I made a mistake here. I should have made this column just 2, but I made 3, which later gave me excess panel. But as you keep watching this video, you're going to see how I later corrected that. So stick to the end, you don't want to miss it. So yeah, now I have 3 panels, or 3 long columns. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. If you're up to this point, thank you so much. You can do well by liking the video. So I've cut this out, and I go ahead to close my dart. I just simply use office pin to press it down, to pin it down. And that's simply how I did that. I just close it up using pins. Now I'm going to cut it, making sure I stop at that line. That is my hip point. Making sure I don't exit that line. I'm going to cut through all these panels. Just be careful so that you don't cut through the other. So yeah, I want to use this opportunity to appreciate my returning subscribers. Thank you so much. Don't mind me, the pattern was just all over the place. So yeah, I've cut this out. Next, I placed it on my fabric. I used 3 yards of this light scuba black material. I used chalk to trace it out because the pattern was not steady. It was just all over the place, so I just traced it out and cut it out. This is my sleeve pattern. Now just go ahead and cut out. Because the table could not contain this, I spread it on the floor, and this is the other part of the dress. Now this is what I was saying by having extra panel. So on the sides I ended up having double. I just went ahead to stitch it, and I have my original 3, but you could not even see it unless you come close. So as I spread it, I made sure that this span between the 2 panels were at least 22 inches, and I created my flares in form of triangles. You'll see as the video proceeds. And the material, the white material I'm using is organza. So I wanted organdia, but I couldn't get it where I did my purchase, so I had to make do with this. But my one here is very transparent. So if you're going for this material, you make sure you're having lining under it. So my clients will also be using a lining because it's really transparent. So yeah, I'm just going to cut out my triangles. I made sure my organza material was on fold, just so I can have multiple at a time, and it will save me time. So I'm almost through cutting this out. Thank you so much for watching to this point again. So yeah, you can take your time because the material is not steady. Now I've gone ahead and cut it out. This is what it looks like, and I cut out 6 pieces of this. I also made sure that it's longer than the black material by 1 inch, and the span of course is 22 inches. I cut out 6 pieces of this, and this is my sleeve pattern, which I'll make a separate video on how to go about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the part where we're going to stitch this dress. Bye.